They don't all believe they'll make it to the end, but they do believe the way they die matters, and that might be the most human thing in this entire doomed world. The initial premise of Clair Obscur Expedition 33 provides one of the most fascinating moral quandaries ever explored in video games. What do you do in the face of inevitable death? I've already made a video talking about my opinion on the subject matter, but today I want to examine how the party members of Expedition 33 all view this nihilistic situation and explore the range in perspectives. Gustav is the engineer who designed Lumiere's defenses, meaning he most likely looks at the gommage like a problem to be solved. But he's anything but detached and overly analytical. On the contrary, Gustav is more emotionally invested in stopping the paintress than anyone because he has a raw wound of survivor's guilt slashed across his heart. Mere days before setting off, his lover Sophie passed away due to the annual ritual, giving him a fresh reminder of what a cruel world they live in, albeit he may still be trying to view the gommage as a complex situation to overcome and approach the expedition logically, until the catastrophic failure of the landing. After this, Gustav's analytical demeanor shatters and he becomes desperate and frantic as he's petrified he's going to lose the only family he's got left, Mael. This survivor's guilt from Sophie is transformed into a parental responsibility to protect, causing him to defy expedition regulations in order to save her. This proves that Gustav's priority is no longer defeating the paintress and stopping the gommage. The only thing he views as important anymore is protecting Mael at all costs. This is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt at the climax of the first act, when Gustav shockingly dies to give Mael another chance to live. In an extremely short amount of time, he goes from the most logical of the group to the most emotionally invested, and it ends up costing him his life. Mael views the gommage in a much different light, as she willingly chooses to join Expedition 33 well before she's required to venture to the continent. This is because she's desperate to escape Lumiere and go with Gustav, who's the only family she's ever known. Mael isn't well liked in Lumiere. Either for her brash attitude or lack of connections, she views the city as a prison of isolation, with the only light being Gustav. So when Gustav is forced to journey beyond the shores, she makes the immediate choice to go with him on his suicide mission. This shows her fear of isolation and dependency on others, that she would rather risk an unknowable and undefeatable threat on the continent rather than remain in Lumiere alone. Mael's fear of being alone is shown in full force when her identity as Alicia is revealed, showing how she chooses to remain in a world that's slowly killing her but with her new friends, rather than return to reality where her brother is gone forever. Lune, meanwhile, fills the logical void left by Gustav's emotional state and becomes the straight-laced by-the-book expedition member who puts the mission above all else. Lune is descended from researchers of the gommage and views the tragedy as a puzzle to be solved, and she does so with an overly analytical tone. This is shown when Mael has a horrific nightmare about Renoir, and Lune takes the opportunity to try and calm Mael down so she can extract information from her rather than console her. This shows that even after the horrific experience they had when they landed, Lune hasn't let her fear overtake her and still views this as a problem that can be solved logically. Though this too might be a coping mechanism, as the gommage is an eldritch oddity that no amount of logic can explain. Lune's detachment from emotion might be necessary because if she confronts the gommage for what it is, then the unknowability of the situation may overwhelm her fact-based mindset. Seiel has an interesting background which gives her a unique lens for viewing the gommage. She's a farmer turned teacher. This gives her an alternate perspective on the nature of cycles. She's watched crops die and students graduate just to be replaced with more. To her, an annualized ritual like the gommage might seem more natural, yet despite this, she has the most cheerful demeanor out of the entire party. Yet even so, I think she's hiding a pragmatic side behind her radiant smile, as the bonding events with Verso involve her teaching him how to swim, but she's abundantly clear that she's doing so to help him survive, not because of any romantic feelings. I'm not sure someone like her truly believes they can defeat the paintress until they're right at her door. I feel that someone like her views the expedition as a way to have meaning in her final moments, as she doesn't just want her cycle to end uneventfully like her crops and students, and journey to the continent to find the joy in her own death. We'll skip Monaco as the gommage doesn't apply to him, and it doesn't seem like he cares either way whether the expedition lives or dies. But we will talk about Verso, despite him also being immune to the Paintress's ritual of death. Verso is the most detached party member of the group, because he's literally been uncoupled from the cycle of death and has become immortal. The reason he joins up with the party and tries to stop the Paintress is because he wants to anchor himself back to reality and live a life that has consequences and, by extension, meaning. As he is now, he's a spectre that roams the continent. While everyone else is burdened with glorious purpose, he has naught to do but saunter around aimlessly, losing more and more of himself every day. For more Clair Obscur essays, here's one about the game's spectacular use of colour contrast, and I'll be back in 2 days.